Welcome to the autumn equinox, particularly if you are in the southern hemisphere like I am, or welcome to the spring equinox if you are in the northern hemisphere. But I'm going to talk about this particularly from where I am. So obviously an equinox, as the name kind of implies, is the time that happens twice a year where we have equal amounts of darkness and light, day and night. Okay, so it's a very interesting time, some interesting energies, and it brings us some opportunities to kind of stop and reflect and see where we're at. So let's go through a few bits and pieces that I've gathered about the autumn equinox. So first of all, this equinox, no matter which hemisphere you're in, is in Aries. Now, this makes it quite interesting for the meaning in the southern hemisphere, though, of the autumnal autumn equinox, where generally it's seen as being, that kind of closing off of all of the growth and the preparation for the darkness of winter. But Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, essentially. So it's all about new beginnings. It's about, taking some initiatives, having fresh starts. So there's a transformative kind of energy here around that I think is quite important, that gives the southern hemisphere autumnal equinox a little bit of a different flavour to the one in the northern hemisphere. I'd be interested to hear if other people in southern hemisphere agree with me. So there is this real sense of new beginnings and freshness coming through, because it is the beginning of something new. Let's dive into a bit of mythology, because I do love my mythology. And the first one I'm going to look at is particularly resonant with me, because this is Greek mythology. At the autumn equinox, the ancient Greeks basically celebrated Persephone's return to the underworld to reunite with Hades, and that sort of symbolized the that the next sequence in the cycle of life. So going into the death phase, ready to be reborn. Now, of course, if you look deeper into Persephone, there are these hints of her being the more ancient seed goddess, where it's about going into the soil to be transformed, which I think fits with our, current theme. We then go to the Celts. Ooh, lots of Celtic blood within me, so I love this. Now, this was really something very powerful within the Celtic religions, where there was this real honoring of the light and the dark. Kind of makes me think a little bit of the yin and yang, the Chinese perspective as well. Haven't looked into that, but interesting. And of course there is this potential connection to Stonehenge, where there is the belief that Stonehenge acts as a kind of cosmic calendar, signifying things like the equinoxes. Who knows? And then, just to go really random, I'm going out to the Caribbean, if only, to the Taino people, who have a particular goddess called Atabay, or a few other names, but we'll go with Atabay, who is their supreme creator goddess. And during the autumn equinox, she is particularly recognized in ceremony, and her totem animal, the boa constrictor, plays an important role. And both men and women play an important role in these ceremonies, with the feminine energy having a particular role to play around creation and the cycles of nature. So quite interesting. So basically we have all of these energies going back through time, to ancient peoples. The equinoxes were really significant times, and we've kind of lost that a little bit. I mean, there are some people nowadays who still celebrate that and recognize that, but we've kind of lost that a little bit. This time here, this autumn equinox, is really a chance for us to think back, bring ourselves into a balance, prepare ourselves for a transition, let me get my words correct, and to really think about the cycles that we go through in life. And are we actually connecting to the natural cycles, or are we kind of a bit out of whack? So it's a chance for us to do a bit of personal transformation. All right, thank you for joining me.